Underdog Daily with Badge Bros, John and just John today. Unfortunately, our guy Nez on that little pat leave lifestyle right now, although I have seen him in the lobbies. Hopefully, he can pop by at some point in the upcoming weeks here, but we want him to enjoy this time, this early, precious time, moments he'll never be able to get back as a father there. Love that so much for him, but we must push on. We must push on the platform of the people here. Tons of stuff. Elite week ahead. Tweeted out what we got planned for this week last night there. If you guys did not see, it is loaded. We got off and on the clock tomorrow with Pete. We're going to do a little bit of baseball stuff. We're going to do baseball and basketball today. Going to do a little bit of puck tomorrow as well. Zamboni action with DJ Mitchell and Matt Moody there. Looking forward to that one. First dedicated puck show we've had in a while. Wednesday, Mike Zakarian's going to come back and join us. We're going to do a 6-game hoop slate. Then we will do a behind the paywall baseball to push Phil for the Dinger there. Closing up on Dinger season. Going to be starting on Thursday there for opening day. And then we will have a early show on Thursday. Not sure timing wise yet. I put it up for 9 Eastern. So what is that? 12 or 9 Pacific. So 12 Eastern. Might have to go a little bit earlier than that, pending what the opening day slate looks like. Most of those games starting at about 1 p.m. my time or 4 p.m. Eastern. So we'll wait and see on that one, but there will be drafting up until lock for opening day on Thursday. And then Friday, TBD. TBD on Friday there. I got a concert Thursday night. And yeah, we got loaded. What is that? 8 total shows again this week. All these double dips. So yeah, really fun week ahead on the platform here. I still got 36, I think, dingers to get done in the next little bit here too. So I'm jamming dingers, but for today, an OG Rotorun Solorun right here. We're gonna go with the hoop stuff first. There, give the unabated game by game breakdown. Whole bunch of Q-tags, bunch of back to backs. I think it's 5 on the back end, or yeah, 5 on the back end back to back, and 3 on the front end back to back. So we'll parse through those. We got a little bit of news that dumped here before. CJ McCollum not going to play on the back to back. Zion still listed out with. I thought I was kind of sharp with the Zion stuff this morning. I thought he had a chance to play the second leg of the back to back here, but turns out it's the Sixers. So wave the white flag there. No dance, not yet. I think we're going to do dance the following week, raise it. I think there's just so much now that is just so actionable right now that like dance, we can still wait a week and still have actionable content on. Maybe a paywall dance thing in the future here, just to like suffice. But man, there's just so much shit going on right now that we want to get the timely stuff going first, in particular baseball, with this being such a huge baseball week. And then we transition. We got Masters the following weekend, or was that 3 weekends away as well? So Albatross will be pushing up there too. So I mean, there's just gonna be tons to draft out here. No shortage of it. Let's start with the weekend that was. Let's break it down for the people here. The results tab, see what's going on. Yeah, as you guys can see with some of these numbers here, your boy's been having some success in the hoop streets here, taking it more seriously with Nez out of office here, knowing that I have to carry the mail on my lonesome. We took down the pick and roll last night, which is always fun. Actually, hat tip to Unabated, who were really high on Andrew Wiggins, even when the Q-tags broke the right way for Hero and Bam. They still loved the spot for Wiggins, so led me to a decent amount of Wiggins last night. Let's take a look at the main here. Sunday shoot around. Shout out to B Baker, 15-23 here. Takes it down last night. Esmeralda did everything in his power to try and track him down there. He was pushing late. I saw that one. He was pushing late in both contests, so shout out to him. Hartenstein, man, we've joked about where's the Hartenstein ceiling, and we eventually got it when they had to play big on big versus Zubac, and we got Chet with a midday Q-tag downgrade there, and then he wound up not playing. So yeah, no J-Dub and no Chet, and Hartenstein having to match size with Zubac is yeah, this is how you get home. Beautiful lineup here. Tatum was falling to the right hand side of the board early in the day with the Q tag on the front end back to back versus Portland there. Sengun was popping in the hashtag models there. Interesting stuff with the Denver, obviously last night without Joker, that they wind up starting DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan plays 38 minutes to match the size of Sengun and not deal with like the small ball two winged lineup with like both the Terror Twins on the floor and or Jabari Smith at the 5. So I thought that was a very interesting tactic from Denver to run out him for 38 minutes. I mean, I don't know if he played. Has DeAndre Jordan played 38 minutes all season, let alone in one game there? I mean, truly, truly remarkable. We've seen a couple DeAndre Jordan starts this year, but he never played, north of like 19 or something like that. So yeah, pretty wild there. Can't imagine we see it again in the back-to-back here for Denver. Obviously, Joker has the Q tag right now. They basically said as much as he's not going to play, but I mean, if he ended up playing and that Q tag is in the 25s or 20th position there when you're drafting, I mean, the Joker just instantly breaks the slate. Very, very interesting dynamic for drafting today. I think he's a fine pick in like the 5th round just because you're going to have value opening up as the day goes by and get good swaps anyways. So exposing yourself to the outlying potential that maybe Joker does find a way to play this evening. I don't think it happens. They basically said, most likely not to go tonight, and then he will return in one of the next 5 games here. So yeah, I'm trusting that and kind of like soft fading. But that being said, I don't know that that means Jamal goes tonight. I don't know. They're one of the teams that have yet to submit. I think Aaron Gordon, if he's able to go on the back to back here, is in a smash spot playing like some small ball 5. But we'll get to all that in a half second. Aaron Gordon was one of the guys I was trying to get over on this morning. But yeah, beautiful lineup here. Needed the 2 Miami guys that were hashtag popping in the models there. Jamal had the probable tag, so he was falling a little bit. He should have been going a bit higher. Not the greatest spot in the world against the Rockets, but without Joker. And when they went back to actually what really helped Jamal last night was starting DeAndre Jordan and not playing that smaller lineup, because when Russell Westbrook does not start, the usage then funnels, like all the handling usage funnels to Jamal, right? So he has the lead handling role like all the time when you have a traditional 5 at center there. So that setup for Jamal is, that setup for Jamal is almost better than the Joker setup because Joker doesn't soak so much gravity and so much usage as well. So yeah, pretty beautiful spot once we knew that DeAndre Jordan was starting to get overweight on Jamal. And then the Hartenstein swap. Yeah, he was definitely the 101 swap on the board there. He was getting drafted in most drafts later in the day. Yeah, but shout out to some of our friends up here. Esmeralda has 2 teams up here. Jump Free has 2 teams up here. Oh, Esmeralda had 3 in the top 10. Beautiful stuff there. Yeah, love to see it. My lineup was very similar in the pick and roll, obviously much smaller contest. So you could get away with kind of the dud picks in the first 2 rounds here, as long as they put up floor scores, which they did in Trey and Mello, and then just nailed the last 4 rounds with the nuts there. I had one pushing in the main here. Yeah, this was a little bit unfortunate. If I go Jamal instead of Bridges here in this one, we could have been cooking, but we still would have lost to the Sengun team there, but would have been a top 10er for sure there. Yeah, that was Sunday. Saturday, we were smelling roses, doing some family stuff. So we just threw in 2 entries to make sure we got to see the leaderboard here. And good thing we did, because we had a whole bunch of friends and family near the top. Again, shout out to Ashton, who's been hanging out in the chat for a long time now. This was the Giddy game. You guys seen the tweets going around on Josh Giddy filling up in all the categories, but none of which were over 18. Very fitting for Josh Giddey, 33 minutes here, 15, 10, 17, and 8, almost 75 fantasy points. Wild, wild night from Josh Giddey. I believe this night our guy Winky was in attendance for this one. Yeah, that Lakers game, Winky was in attendance. Dude, the Bulls put a hurting. The Bulls put a hurting on the Lakers in their own building. There, they put up like 240 real life basketball points. Buzelis had an absolute night as well. So yeah, great stuff. Yeah, nice, beautiful, well constructed lineup here. Butler and Giddey were kind of like the front end pairings that you need there. Then still getting to Kobe White in that game, and then Bridges, Keegan, and Moses Moody. So this was a shorter slate, obviously there. Inthrius was up here. Johnny Footballs is up here. The coach is up here. Rolly is up here, who's hanging out in the chat. Rolly, love to see it. Congrats on the 6th place there. Yeah. Yeah, and then Friday night here, we had ourselves a slight winning night, but did not have much success in the side contests. DMC Inthrius again. Wow, Inthrius just doing work out here. Esmeranda was up there again. Inthrius takes down the $100 one, so he's all over this stuff. Love to see it. And then the main here. What are we going with? Sharantula? Sharantula? Or Shea Rantula, something like that. We'll go with that. Cowboys up here, DMC, Esmeralda all over it yet again. We had a 20th place lineup that kind of carried the weight that night. You needed to have both Castle and Vassell and put those two guys together there, showing some ceiling in a good matchup against, the corpse of the 76ers team there. Yeah, you needed both of them at the back end. This was the game in which Porzingis went, but Tatum did not. So obviously, that falling Q tag for Zinger aged beautifully with the 50 fantasy points. Denny Avdia, man, look out! Denny Avdia is playing some really good ball recently. 64 fantasy points, 63 again last night. Man, Denny Avdia, he's a pleasure to watch. I said something tongue in cheek in the Discord last night, but like Denny Avdia right now is who people think Josh Hart is. Like Denny Avdia, man, the Portland is, if this continues and Portland, somehow, they're most likely find their way to that play-in game. Maybe not most likely, but if they hang on to that play-in game and they continue to play teams tough like this and they win like one game in that play-in series or something, I mean, that Denny Avdia trade is aging beautifully for them right now. I was pretty bearish on it initially. I thought it was kind of a mistake, but man, Denny Avdia is a hell of a basketball player. Yeah, Paulo in the first round, and KD was really the guy you needed on this slate, and the models loved him. So shout out to the models getting home on Friday there in a big, big way. All right, let's move on here to today's slate. And today's slate, I'm not going to lie, pretty tough to draft right now just because of all the moving pieces with these Q tags. I think it's Giannis at the 101, as Nez likes to say, with a bullet, just because this matchup versus Phoenix so strong. Obviously, no Dame Lillard this evening for sure, and then just pace down start of a grueling road trip for the Lakers here at Orlando. Can Luka get home? Absolutely. Can LeBron get home this evening? Absolutely. But I would be staking my claim in the honest stuff at 101 in a big way. All right. Ant has this Q tag, and the Ant Q tag is very interesting because Ant has played through almost every Q tag this calendar year, dating back to the start of 2025. Yeah, he's played through every Q tag but one. Now, tonight's a little different because it's a new Q tag. Let me find the exact wording of it for you guys. It is listed as a right thumb laceration. Cut on his right thumb, I guess, right? That's his shooting hand for people keeping track at home, which is not the greatest thing in the world here. But we do have what looks to be on paper a fun pace up spot against the Pacers. So I don't know. Taking him at ADP seems fine. He seems like a guy who plays through these sort of things. He's a guy you're going to want to have exposure to if he does go this evening. That being said, the push-pull dynamic is Naz Reid comes into play if he cannot go. Julius Randle, who is routinely going in the late fifth, early sixth, looks like a good click regardless, but he would obviously get a boost there. So if you want to get ahead of a little bit of that stuff, those would be my two targets as of right now. Yeah, you can, put on your gal brain hat later in the day if we get an out tag to getting to the likes of DiVincenzo and Jaden McDaniels and that sort of thing. But yeah, probably not going to be for me. The Joker one. So the Joker one right now to me stands out as a underdog has to not treat him as out right now because he is not officially listed as out, but he is closer to out and doubtful than he is to playing this evening because of what has been said and the fact that they haven't filed an injury report. If this was not back to back, I think he would already have an out tag and Nuggets would have already filed and he would have had an out tag. That being said, from a game theory standpoint, you cannot get caught drafting early and not touching Joker right now. You have to have a little bit of that in your bag because the swaps are going to be plentiful on this slate. So, and some of them will even come from his own team. Like Michael Porter Jr. doesn't get drafted every single time. Aaron Gordon, who's going to be in a smash spot if he starts at the 5 tonight, because I can't imagine they run DeAndre Jordan 38 minutes on a back-to-back versus Vooch. You can just play small ball 5. So I do think it was really intelligent from the Nuggets to do that last night with DeAndre Jordan and then look ahead on the calendar. Okay, we're going to get small ball potential lineups this evening. Now, you don't want to play small against Vooch, but it is a good setup for Gordon this evening. It's also a good setup for Vooch, but we'll talk about that in a second here. I think the sweet spot for drafting Joker right now is probably 18 through 24, and he falls a little bit further than that. I was taking, Cam Johnson ahead. I was taking Scotty Barnes ahead. I was kind of like cutting off. There was a tier for me in my rankings at about 20-ish this morning that I was taking Joker, Zinger, Sabonis, and we scroll all the way down. Where's Anthony Davis? Where are you? Maybe he's pushed up since this morning. There he is. Anthony Davis. He's pushed up. And I was actually taking Davis first of this group. Now, this could be a little funny business with Anthony Davis. The fact that he went from a doubtful tag to a Q tag, there's a chance. There's almost 1,000% that he's going to be on some kind of minutes restriction or minutes limitation this evening. Do I think you can win a slate with 4th round AD on 24 to 28 minutes against a pace down big lineup from Brooklyn this evening? I think the answer is yes. So I was still taking him in the 4th round there. And I think of this grouping, I think Zinger is the most likely to play. I think AD is the second most likely to play. I think Joker and Sabonis are kind of like courtesy Q tags right now that are going to turn to out tags, that they're preemptively listing them as Q. So then they're preemptively listing him as Q so that then they can be ready to list these guys as playable in the future. Because this is front end back to back for Sacramento as well. And if people remember, we had that whole debate the last time Sabonis was coming back, because this is early in the timeline for Sabonis. So Sabonis was supposed to be like, 10 plus days, 5 plus games, that sort of thing. And now all of a sudden he practices yesterday and then gets the Q tag today. We saw this exact same progression almost 2 weeks ago with the Suns game being the more important of the 2 games that they were going to play. That was second night of back-to-back, and they listed Sabonis with the Q on the first night, and then the second night they then had him active. I think we could be seeing something similar here, especially if on the other side you get Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Zinger and Drew Holiday, some combination of those four getting ruled out on the back-to-back this evening. Sabonis then happens in tandem and plays tomorrow night. That's kind of where my mind is at right now. So gun to my head, I'd be like 45% Sabonis playing tonight, opposed to, true 50-50. I feel the same way about Joker. That being said, I think Zinger plays tonight, and I think AD plays tonight, and I think I'd rather have Zinger than AD right now, but that one you could, push-pull dynamics there. Here's an interesting point from Ghost AF, wondering if AD upgrade is more telling that he goes tomorrow, not today. That's one argument. One of the other arguments is the fact that they just need bodies. Like they literally have 9 guys listed right now, and some of these 10 days they're trying to extend by coaches DNPing guys, right? So even if Anthony Davis is available tonight and like he just plays 15 minutes or something like that, that is a help to their overarching outlook going forward so that they don't have to, well, A, they're not allowed to sign more bodies for another 7-ish days, and B, they can manage some of the contracts of some of the other guys that are currently on the roster. But this could be potentially the closest we've seen the Mavs to, dare I say, full in quotations in a long, long time, because you could see a lineup of, Dinwiddie, Clay, Najee, PJ, AD to start. And that's probably as close to they get to looking quote unquote normal for the rest of the season here. So yeah, if AD ends up being in and they end up having like, what would that be, 10 or 11 bodies, I think you end up seeing like Brandon Williams being a DNP this evening, or coach's decision DNP. He would still be listed as active to manage the contract. I think that's kind of like the push-pull that we're dealing with here. Not that it really matters for our game, but Najee Marshall's getting drafted like quite high. PJ Washington's getting drafted quite high. I would rather just take AD Q-tag than Najee Marshall right now. So yeah, you're probably gonna have to push him up a couple spots. But I think PJ is fine this evening. But yeah, this and the Sabonis situation are like, we're kind of cheering for some form of CLV in the fifth, or we're simply cheering for a good swap when real value opens up later down the day. There is a lot of potential swapping on this slate that you're going to want to get to if Q tags break different ways. When's the last time a player was listed as doubtful and played? 3 days ago, 4 days ago, Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole was listed as doubtful. Marcus Smart was listed as out. Then they changed to Q tags 3 hours before tip, and then both played. That was against Utah. So there's that. Now listed as just doubtful, going to lock. Joker did it once and broke a slate last year. Embiid did it this year. Yeah, and broke a slate this year. Yeah. Cole saying Davis 100% sits today, plays tomorrow. Yeah, I wouldn't fault that. I would not fault that in any regard. That is definitely that could definitely be the most likely outcome for him and Sabonis this evening. I just think on the spectrum of more likely to play right now, I think AD is above Joker for this evening. That doesn't mean I 100% think he's going to go tonight, or that he's 100% going to matter if he only plays 25 minutes. It's just thoughts on the Q tags right now. Malik Monk, he was playing some good ball prior to this. We talked about how we hadn't seen a Malik Monk ceiling in a while. Malik Monk is going to create some push-pull dynamics, because basically Boston, obviously good against catch and shoot. It'll depend on which version of the Boston lineup we get, but good against catch and shoot, good defensive team, just like in general. If we get Sabonis, Monk in, DeRozan's ADP, Levine's ADP, etc., are probably wrong right now. Like the DeRozan one, probably a little high for my liking if we get them all in. If we get these Q tags to break the wrong way and get out, I mean, aging like wine is going to be Levine in the last round, DeRozan in the 4th and 5th round as of right now. The line in that game is only 3.5 for the Celtics on the road. Second night of a back-to-back after, taking care of the Blazers last night. Blazers played tough to keep that competitive down the stretch. Watched a little bit of that game. Man, Shaedon Sharp can jump out the fucking gym. What an athlete, man. He had a putback that just like, man, he's effortless hops. I love Shaedon Sharp. Um, yeah, that 3.5 is a little bit Windhursty because do we get Tatum on the back to back? I imagine we don't get Al Horford on the back to back, and we get Zinger in on the back to back tonight. Auxiliary players did wonders last night. Peyton Pritchard started. He got 3 quick ones, but then ended up finishing the game there. I think the reason he started is Portland is his hometown. Obviously, he went to Oregon, so I think there might have been a little bit of favoritism in the lineup setting last night to be like, okay, we got a choice here to start between, him, Sam Hauser, whoever else kind of deal. Let's go with the hometown kid. His parents were at the game, that sort of thing. Yeah, White and Pritchard are going to become decent plays in the back end here and age well if we end up with no Jaylen Brown again and we end up with no Al Horford and then maybe no Tatum kind of situation. I'm playing Tatum as in right now. I'm playing Zinger as in right now. And then I was playing Jaylen Brown as out with the swappability. But we could see him return tonight after a 3-game absence. Reminder, he's still doing the fasting stuff. So, yeah. Okay. I think that's pretty good. I think Maxey is just a courtesy Q. I think Drew could come into our player pool if those break the wrong way. I do find it fascinating what's going to happen with Denver this evening. I don't think you want to play DeAndre Jordan again. I thought that was a kind of a one-off and a really nice game last night, but there's a non-zero chance that he then starts again this evening and they just run it back with like everybody. But Michael Porter Jr. is going to age quite well. Some of the other Q tags from this morning, RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett's now been listed as out. So I saw people, kind of trying to decide what to do with that stuff. I think IQ comes into play in the 6th round a little bit, even if he only plays kind of like the 28 minutes, because it does look like a decent spot. Yeah, I guess we should talk about the Zion one now. Jordan Hawkins, 50 points tonight, this sort of thing. Yeah, let's talk about that one as we get to the game by game here. Yeah, let's take a look here. Beautiful unabated platform here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games on the slate tonight. Obviously, that Denver and Chicago stands out from a total and pace standpoint. The Magic one is hella pace down. The Nets one is hella pace down. Washington and Toronto both on the back-to-back. No idea what we're going to get lineup-wise from both those teams. Neither have submitted, but they have ruled out, RJ, as I said already. So we haven't had a full submission. Hopefully I filibustered enough to 11:30 my time so that we can get this 2:30 Eastern injury report here. Yeah, and maybe we got some new news trickling in there. Speak of the devil, the watch just buzzed. Tyrese Maxey ruled out. That was a sweat, hey? Tyrese and boom, Maxey. So as I just alluded to, it was a fake Q tag. All right, 24th today. Washington, my bad. I misspoke. Washington has had 1 day of rest. So we have Toronto on the back end back-to-back. We have the Sixers back end back-to-back. We have the Pels back end back-to-back. CJ McCollum has not played in a back-to-back since coming back. He's already received the out tag. Boston, as I alluded to, back end back-to-back. Denver, as I alluded to, back end back-to-back. 5 teams back end back-to-back, 4 of which have not submitted yet. Denver will not have to for another 2-ish hours, and Boston will not have to for another 3 hours. 2 hours? Sorry, I might have had that wrong. 1 hour and 2 hours, I think. Now, 6 hours prior to West Coast tip there. Now, the teams on the front end back-to-backs, Orlando this evening, Orlando versus the Lakers this evening at home, travels to the Hornets tomorrow. They are very forthcoming with their injury report. I'm not concerned about them. Cole Anthony has been listed with this Q tag forever with this toe that just crept up out of nowhere, and now he's missed like 3 or 4 games since. He is probably not going this evening, but won't rule it out. He did not participate in shoot around yet again. And then Dallas and the Kings. So doubling down on the conversation that we just had about AD and the conversation we just had about Sabonis is they are front end back to back. Dallas is in the Garden tomorrow night against the Knicks, and then Sacramento is at home versus OKC. OKC doing a little bit of a West Coast swing right now. I believe it's their longest road trip of the season. No, it is the Celtics' longest road trip of the season right now. All right. There you go. Nez dropping by to say what up. He is battling from the trenches right now. Yeah, people are pushing up Jose Alvarado right now, and Hawkins is available every single time. Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a dude who's bad from a rates perspective, but can fill it up in a big way in the blink of an eye. That's Hawkins, man. Like, he's just bad from a rates perspective, but then when he gets hot from three, there's no stopping it, right? It's kind of like Dalton Connecty-esque, if we want to say that. But yeah. All right, let's do this. Lakers, 4.5-point favorites at Orlando, 215.5. Let me refresh the injury report to make sure we have the newest one. Come on. NBA injury report. There we go. 2:30 p.m. Eastern time here. Nothing has changed for these two teams. Rui is listed as questionable. Bronny James, who had a stat line that was memorable the other night when everybody else was out and got some garbage time run there. He is out with G League assignment. Obviously, Maxi Kleber with the surgery still out. LeBron James listed as probable on this road trip. Cole Anthony, as we just talked about, with the Q tag there. Trevlin Queen with the Q tag. We haven't heard his name in a little bit there. It was more Tristan da Silva and that sort of thing in recent memory. But they need some bodies here. They need some bodies, especially on the back-to-back. Not sure he goes this evening. Yeah, in terms of draftable pieces, Luka at ADP, fine. Braun, ADP, fine. Paulo, ADP, fine. Franz, getting a little bit over on ADP, probably okay. But we got those wing defenders back for Los Angeles. So when you're looking at the box scores of when Los Angeles was playing poorly, you'll notice that a lot of it coincided with LeBron not being there, Dorian Finney-Smith not being there, Dorian Finney-Smith, I always say Finney-Smith not being there. Jared Vanderbilt missed on the back-to-back last week. So when those wing defenders are back, it's definitely a tougher, slower matchup for Paulo and Franz. Basically, Magic, I'm only going to draft Paulo and Franz. You could twist my arm, maybe a Wendell Carter Jr. later in the day in the last round, because the matchup for opposing fives has been so good against Jackson Hayes, but that's a little gal brainy. Austin Reeves is a guy that I'm going to be down on comparative to his ADP. This matchup for guards is better, obviously, without Suggs and without Cole Anthony going potentially, but still not great. And with Luka and Braun back, Austin Reeves can still get home, but the path is a lot thinner there. There's going to be targets in the 4th and 5th round that I like more than his current 24 ADP. Next up, Pacers. T-Wolves, 228.5 here. Pacers, 2.5-point favorites at home. That kind of tells me a little bit alarm bells with this Ant Edwards stuff. But as I said before, he has played through the Q tag every single time but one in the calendar year of 2025. That being said, it is a different designation than we were previously dealing with. Right thumb laceration. They have listed all the G Leaguers as out here. On the Pacers side of the ball, Benny Math with a Q tag there. Good Canadian kid. Benny Math with a Q tag, which then has the Pacers listing the G Leaguers as probable. So obviously, pace down spot for the Pacers, not one that we're going to want to be hammering on the Pacers side. I think Hallie is fine. at ADP. I don't think he's, in a great spot or something like that. I'm most intrigued here with Ant, and maybe a little bit of Julius Randle in the fifth and sixth round there. I do think if we get Ant ruled out, Nas Reed's going to be like a big riser throughout the day. I don't think he starts. I don't think, even if Ant was ruled out, I don't think like Nas Reed would draw into the starting lineup. I think it'd be Dante DiVincenzo who would draw in, and they would do like the Connolly, DiVincenzo, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, and Gobert. I think it would just open up like 28 minutes off the bench. And we know Nas Reed from a rates perspective can cook. Yeah, Pacers side, I think Miles Turner in the last round's fine. I think Siakam at ADP is okay, but not my favorite spot in the world. Just I don't like attacking the T Wolves with fours. Yeah, it's not great. We're getting some early hoops in the chat in the day. We got a Quentin Grimes, finally. Quentin Grimes out of our lives. We could stop dealing with what is the evergreen. He was supposed to be on a minutes limit, but he's not on a minutes limit, but now he's playing all the time. So Quentin Grimes just got the rule out there. I suppose what I should be doing is bringing up the news tab on the side here so that we see this. So alongside that Tyrese Maxey notification that I got, it was also Kelly Oubre, Andre Drummond, Lonnie Walker with a bunch of numbers beside his name. What is he, the fourth? Quentin Grimes out, and then Amen Bona was listed as probable for this evening. So we'll talk about what that means for some potential value for the Sixers here in what is going to be the dustiest of dust lineups on either side, going back and forth with a decent total. There are going to be scroll the F down options for days in that ball game now. Close my thoughts on Pacers and T-Wolves is just like I'm not super excited to get to it until we find out what's up with the Ant news. And hopefully we get that Ant news a little bit earlier in the day because it is one of those first games to tip. All right, Raptors and Wiz here. Wizards as 1.5-point favorites at home, 227 as previously noted. Raptors second night of a back-to-back here. Let's get the most recent update for the injury report here. Chris Boucher out, Grady Dick out, BI out, Jared Rhoden out, RJ Barrett out on the rest there. So Scotty Barnes, aka Scotty Bolway, Jakob Pertl, and IQ are all available this evening in this matchup against the Wiz. All are kind of like fine and palatable at price tag. I am very scared of the minutes, as we've alluded to with the Raptors, but we have noticed that in recent memory, these Scotty Bolway minutes have ticked up. Like they've been comfortable when we were really scared early on. These 24s, these 27s, this sort of thing. The tankathon has allowed him against some of the better teams, in quotations, and some of these closer game environments. He has gone up to the 30, and 30 minutes of Scotty Barnes in this matchup is something that I'm going to want to have in my life, especially when you juxtapose it to the guys in his range here. So like Vooch and Kobe White, high total game environment. PJ Washington, if you get AD in, the rates will likely come down, and it's a pace down spot. So like I kind of like getting Scotty Barnes here a little bit. If Jamal's ends up with a Q tag or something breaks the wrong way for their injury report, you probably want to have a little Scotty to cover that third round in your life. So I'm pretty fine with it. Ben asking the Joker question, 99% not playing. Scroll the tape back, bro. I hit on it at the start there. I think it's a courtesy one until they actually file their injury report. But if he comes up with a Q tag on his injury report instead of just instantly listed as out, you're going to want to have some bag. You are going to want to have some right now because you will never see the likes of fifth round Joker ever again. And there are so many swap options there. So my gut says out. My game theory says you're going to want to have a little bit when you're drafting here. Let's talk about the Wizards. Let's talk about the Wizards for a second here. Hashtag let the kids play movement in full effect. I think Raptors, I think when they're nearing full, like they've listed AJ Lawson available to play this evening. I think when they're nearing full, it's kind of like just play the stars and hope you get a competitive game environment. Like this is only a 2-point spread. Like hope you get a competitive game environment and you get 30 minutes from them. That being said, it is still a little scary because, Mobo might play 30 minutes. Castleton might sub in early for Pirtle. Like stuff like this can happen, right? So I'm a little skittish, but I definitely want a couple of those pieces. IQ in the last round, Scotty at ADP, a Jakob Pirtle or two share in the last round. Just because we know the matchup against opposing fives against SAR has been like pretty good. Washington, I might have nobody today because I have no idea where the minutes are going. Jordan Poole had that big game in the Dog Bowl, and then since then has only been playing like 24 minutes. Chris Middleton, random spike game and then comes out and plays like 20, this sort of thing, right? If I'm going to anyone from this, it's probably just SAR, but I don't love the matchup for SAR. Yeah, it's going to be really hard to just know who they're playing on a night to night basis when they're this deep. Now, when we get them on like second night back to backs and you get like some bodies ruled out early and you get like Justin Champagny starting, or you get like Tristan Vukovic, who's been pretty good from a rates perspective, you get him in that starting lineup. Like those are some guys that, all of a sudden we can get to them. But I need them to have like 9, 10, 11 active bodies. And that's just not the case when they have like everybody listed available. Their last time out was against the Knicks. Take a little look at what it looked like here. They've been doing this kind of like start Poole, start SAR. Sometimes it's Champagny, but when Middleton plays, it's Middleton instead of him. And then he comes off the bench. You don't really know what the minutes are going to look like there. I guess Bub Carrington and SAR are the safest bets for minutes right now, and SAR's kind of like the only one we can really trust. Yeah, it's pretty gross, man. It's pretty gross. Yeah, we had some lowers on Tristan that night that I put in the Discord, and then he cooked them in like 3 minutes off the bench in garbage time. It was pretty tilting. All right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's kind of like Star's kind of like the only guy. I mean, if you wanted to be the guy who goes, hey, this game plays tighter and more competitive and plays closer to the spread, but this is a full-fledged tank off game. So second night back-to-back for the Raptors, like my Windhurst would be up that although IQ and Pirtle didn't play yesterday, that like they're still limited to like 28 minutes here, and you're going to be able to find value on the Pelicans, on the Sixers, on potentially the Nuggets in the late rounds that are going to play north of 33. And I'll probably just take those options instead, right? All right. Let's move on here. Mavericks and Nets. We have had this conversation. Just to reiterate, with Anthony Davis, this might be a preemptive Q-tag this evening so that he can then play tomorrow on the second night of the back-to-back. That being said, taking Anthony Davis in the 4th or the 5th round when he potentially plays 25 minutes this evening from a rates perspective is not terrible, but it's still a pace down spot. But the Mavs have to win ball games if they want to get this play-in game. And you bet your ass Nico wants to get into the play-in games here just to make himself not look like a complete and utter dunce cap. So I do think they're going to push Anthony Davis somewhat unnecessarily to be coming back earlier than maybe he potentially should be. Just because they need, from an organizational standpoint, A, the bodies, and B, the don't look like we're total dunce caps, right? Yeah, I'm counting anywhere from 9 to 11 bodies for them this evening. If no AD this evening, PJ Washington and Najee Marshall are going to look pretty good. Najee Marshall, not a guy who can fill it up from a rates perspective. He's a guy who just needs the minutes to get home. So this evening, like his push-pull dynamic of minutes are really going to matter for whether he's draftable or not at his current ADP. As of right now, like I don't love him at ADP, but if you get like AD ruled out a little bit closer to lock or something like that, I think the Najee stuff's a little bit better than just because the minutes floor is a little bit safer. Not that those minutes directly come from AD, but just in terms of like available bodies, that sort of deal. Spencer Dinwiddie in the last round. you could do worse, but this is a pace down, low total game here. On the net side, we've already had D'Angelo Russell ruled out for this one. They're without the G Leaguers. No Melton, no Russell, no Cam Thomas, no Whitehead. Zaire Williams has been listed available. So I imagine Zaire Williams jumps back into that starting lineup alongside Keon Johnson, Cam Johnson, Claxton, and then insert other body. Maybe they do the Clowney thing. Maybe they do the Tyrese Martin thing. I imagine they do the Tyrese Martin thing this evening in terms of their starting lineup. I think Cam Johnson is pretty good at ADP, but there isn't a huge push-pull between him and D'Lo. It's not like, hey, D'Lo's off the floor, and now all of a sudden his shots go like way, way up. That being said, D'Lo the other night in the Celtics game took like 8 threes in the last like 4 minutes and just like didn't get the ball to Cam Johnson to get shots up. So Cam Johnson getting shots up tonight, that's probably a good thing for his potential fantasy output. So I liked Cam Johnson a decent amount this morning, despite the game environment. I just thought he was a little bit underpriced, but that price has kind of slowly ticked up in terms of ADP. Emwald saying only 9 Mavs guys tonight, with assuming no AD right. Let me count. I have Dinwiddie, Clay, Najee, PJ, Christie, Powell, Hardy, Edwards, and then Brandon Williams has the probable tag, but they're managing the contract, and then Kai Jones. Injury report tells me that's 10. Am I wrong on Brandon Williams or Kai Jones? Do they manage the contract of one of them this evening and then make one of them inactive and only have 9? Because I count 10. And then AD would make 11. And if AD plays, I imagine they manage the contract of one of Williams or Kai Jones, and one of them doesn't play, and that's 10. If they think they can get, 25 minutes out of AD this evening. But they might just be preemptively doing it so they can do that tomorrow night. That's where I'm at. That's kind of the gist of it. There's only 3-4 draftable players from either side here. In total, not from either side. 3 or 4 in total here. One of these games we're going to get Brandon Williams starting and one of Dinwiddie and Hardy out. And that's going to be a fun slate for us to get to Brandon Williams, but tonight does not appear to be that night. Okay, so you're counting Kessler Edwards out, but that's not confirmed. Okay, cool. So maybe they managed the Kessler Edwards stuff. Okay. Yeah. Stuff's going to happen with the Mavs. Let's leave it at that. Hard to talk through right now, the rest of it. All right, stuff that has already happened. Sixers and Pels. This is a 228 here. This is 4.5 by way of the Pels at home. We just got Grimes ruled out. Let me see if I have the most actionable injury report. Yes. So as you guys can see, right-hand side of the screen, and what we just talked about, no Drummond, no Embiid, no Paul George, no Gordon, no Grimes, no Lowry, no Maxey, no McCain, obviously, no Oubre, no Lonnie Walker, the 4th or the 5th or the how many ever Roman numerals those are, and Bona listed available. So let's do some quick and dirty math on the Sixers. Jeff Doughton, who has played very well when he has started and has really been nice from a rate standpoint, I imagine he starts tonight. O'Shea Brissett, they're managing his 10-day, and his 10-day expired coming into tonight. Has anyone seen if he has signed a new 10-day? I imagine if they have contracts available, they're simply going to sign him for tonight because they definitely need the bodies, right? because Downton, Edwards, Yabu, Butler, Council, Bona, Reese, Hood Shafino, who sat yesterday, Okiki. Yeah. I mean, they have 10 if Brissett is still on a 10-day. So, okay, here, pitch chiming in. Thank you. This is some good alpha. I did not watch this ball game yesterday. Brissett got hurt last night. And that's good alpha because they don't have to list him on the injury report because in theory, he's not on the team right now. So that's some very good alpha. So if he does not sign another 10-day and is not eligible for this evening, both physically or because he signed a 10-day, I count 9 bodies for them tonight. There's a lot of minutes here. Who are our favorite plays this evening from this? I think Butler if he starts, but that's not a given. I think Doughton has the prettiest box scores from when he has started from a rates perspective. 39 fantasy points yesterday in 25 minutes. Does that earn you a start today? Me thinks so. So the guys who are going to end up popping in the hashtag models are whoever starts at the 1, Butler, Doughton. Council will be a fine click. Justin Edwards is a fine click. Yabu's a fine click. Okiki and Brissett probably won't touch. Bona probably won't play enough minutes to matter if Yabu starts at the 5. Hood, Shafino, and Reese out of my player pool. That's how I look at it. Edwards going to light it up. Edwards is your guy's favorite. I respect it. I respect it. We're talking about Ant Edwards. Everybody else should be worried about Justin Edwards. 38, 39, 30, 39. And that was with Quentin Grimes. 30 fantasy point floor in recent memory here. Pretty good. Pretty good for a handling role. Bona never gets enough minutes to matter, but 30 seconds is more than enough. I like it. I like it. Hasn't played in a while. Has not played in a while. So how are we ranking those ones? Sixers. I got to give this an update. Wow, that man, they are thin. Both these teams are thin tonight. Edwards, Doughton, Butler, Yabu are all draftable. Yeah. We're going to be mixing and matching this game. Because after all these rule outs, guys, this is the 3rd highest total still on the slate. Dumpster fire, trash game, back and forth. This has all the makings of slop it up fest of the night. Give me the auxiliary pieces from this game for like some outlier rates guys in the 5th and 6th round over like Najee Marshall right now. Najee Marshall's getting drafted. I would rather have auxiliary pieces of this game. Yeah. Let's talk about the Pels. Brandon Boston listed as out. Bruce Brown hasn't played a back-to-back in this calendar year. Same with CJ McCollum. So they're both listed out. Herb Jones is done for the year. Trey Murphy's done for the year. Yves Missi has a Q-tag this evening, which will be an interesting push-pull with Kelly O, a.k.a. Kelly Olynyk, a.k.a. Good Canadian Kid, a.k.a. Split the Slate Wide Open. Deep dive callback if you guys were here for that one with Spags back in the day. And then Zion Williamson has been listed as out and DeJounte Murray done for the year as well there. So let's do the Pels thing. Pels have 10. Pels have 10 or 11 here. Yeah. So I think the locks to start and guys we want to play are probably going to be Alvarado, Hawkins, Kelly Olynyk, and Carlo Matkovic. Even if Misi plays, I'm not sure I really want a whole lot of it, but I think it's fine. Like he's a fine late round click. But I would be more interested in, from a rates perspective, Carlo and Kelly O. Yeah. I think they've signed Alfred Payton again, who, reminder to everybody, both this year and last year, has RKO out of nowhere just come out and dropped like 15 dime games and broken slates. He is in our player pool this evening. He played 12 minutes against Minnesota 2 games ago. So he's on a 10-day with them. I wouldn't rule out the possibility that he just randomly draws a start here over like JRE if we get no Misi. Alvarado's starting and probably is the best, safest click. Kelly O is probably next. Carlo is after that. Jordan Hawkins, bad rates guy, but if he plays 35 minutes and just jacks up the 3, can fill it up. JRE is kind of like a wild card because he could draw in and they play Kelly O at the 5, Carlo or him at the 4/3. It'd be kind of a big lineup. Not big, but yeah. But if Yabu and Brissett start on the other side, okay. I'm kind of walking through this one here. But yeah. Carlo got a bit of foul trouble, or got a bit of that Claxton JJJ foul trouble gene lately. That's a good shout. He's really good from a rates perspective, though. Like he's had some nice fantasy games for us. Let's see. Minutes have been down 16, 19, 19, 20. Then he gets up in that 27 there. Yeah. Wild slate, guys. Fuck, this is a fun slate. This is a ball knower slate. This is good stuff. All right. Let's move on. There's basically 8 draftable players in this game that all have ceilings. Now, are their ceilings going to be like 65 fantasy points? Probably not. But their ceilings could be like 48 to like 50, and they're all available in the last round for free. Just zig when other people zag. If everybody starts taking Edwards, I don't know, take Alvarado. Or if everybody's taking Alvarado, take Edwards. Or if everybody's taking Doughton, take Carlo or Edwards. Like stuff like that. I think there's going to be a little bit of leverage here with someone falling into like 38 minutes and like 48 fantasy points from this game, just given the total, given the spread, given the touch time that's available here. All right. Nuggets and Bulls. Best game on the slate. Best game on the slate. Highest total, best pace, tight spread. Nuggets are 3.5-point favorites here. The Bulls have been filling it up from a fantasy perspective. We talked about that game on Saturday night in LA. The Josh Giddey all under 18 stat line. I don't know what we're going to get from the Nuggets tonight. Let me check and make sure we haven't had an update yet. Jamal had a probable tag going into last night. Aaron Gordon was listed as clean. When's the last time Aaron Gordon played a back-to-back? Give me a sec here. That's an interesting one. DeAndre Jordan coming off of 38 minutes. It looks like a fine spot against Vooch. I cannot imagine he has it in him to physically put up 38 minutes again on a back-to-back. And we talked about the dynamic, how you wanted to play big against Sengun yesterday so that they can play small tonight with Vooch as a stretch 5 at the 5. I think Aaron Gordon starts and plays the 5 tonight. I think they tapered this rotation so that Aaron Gordon could be in a smash spot tonight. Aaron Gordon's usage without Joker has been off the charts. That was prior to last night. Prior to last night, when they do a more traditional lineup with the big in DeAndre Jordan, Jamal popped in a big way. Let's see here. Aaron Gordon. He's played in 5 back-to-backs. Is that correct? I think Gordon played tonight. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. The push-pull dynamic of DeAndre Jordan starting tonight is like pretty huge. Because you could either get like Jamal, Westbrook, Brown, Porter, and Gordon, or you could get Jamal, Brown, Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Jordan, or we could get the Gordon at the 5. Westbrook draws back in. Man, this is crazy because this is a really good spot. It's something that we're going to want to get to. Michael's asking if Gordon sits Westbrook, right? Yeah, or Westbrook night. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, JK, I'm saying hard-earned money on DeAndre Jordan. No thanks. Agree. I don't want it. I just think the push-pull dynamic of it is so important in terms of what lineup we're going to get from the Nuggets tonight. Because we want Nuggets. We want Bulls tonight. Like, we want both sides of this game. Highest total, one of the fastest pace on the slate. Like, we want this game. And someone from this game is going to matter in a big, big way. Now, is it Russell Westbrook, who didn't start last night and then played the least amount of minutes the previous 2 games out of like the quote unquote stars? Is it he draws into the starting lineup tonight and gives us this vintage 42 like he did against the Warriors and broke the slate, where everybody spent all day drafting Jamal with the Q-tag and drafting Joker with the Q-tag, both sit against the Warriors on national TV, and then he comes in, starts, and breaks the slate? Is that what we're looking at tonight? Because if Gordon sits, Joker sits, and Jamal sits, like Westbrook's going to project like the 10th best play on the slate, 12th best play on the slate. Getting some Westbrook in your life right now feels great. Getting some Michael Porter Jr. in your life feels good. Getting some Aaron Gordon in your life right now, if they do go small ball 5, feels amazing. I think you rank it Westbrook, Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. as your back end options. Jamal is entirely fine at ADP, but the moment we get an active tag to Jamal, he's going to push up. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the Bulls for a second here. Obviously, Giddey coming back, smashed in his last couple games there. He misses the Sacramento one in the middle there. They told us he was only going to play one of the 2 games, and then, Donovan plays him in the first game. Buzelis had a smash spot game against the Lakers there. Injury report on the Bulls is no Lonzo Ball, no Io still, and then the G Leaguers. Oh, no Trey Jones, which is important for second unit handling. And in recent memory, when Giddey had been out first unit handling, and then out tags on the G Leaguers there. So Giddey, White, Vooch going every single draft, rightfully so. I like the Vooch matchup better if DeAndre Jordan's on the floor, which kind of sounds counterintuitive because I think the Nuggets should play Aaron Gordon at the 5. Gordon as a defender versus a stretch 5 seems like a pretty tough matchup. But that being said, Vooch, from a rates perspective, is going to be in a good spot no matter what. And, we finally saw a borderline ceiling game from him last time out. 41, 52, 42. Vooch has been playing some good ball. As much as nobody wants to acknowledge it, Vooch has been playing some good ball. I think you can draft all three of the starters and get overweight them. And I do think it is worth darts in the last round to get to Kevin Herter, who has this 55 in his bag here, although that was without Giddy. But just a reminder that he has that in his bag. And then this Buzelis game right here, where he comes with 31 real-life basketball points, get some more minutes recently. Obviously not filling it up in other categories as of right now. And that's just because the usage funnels away from him. That baseline shimmy shake he gave to Luka, followed by slam, was sick. Yeah. Yeah, Miles, this is real ball no takes tonight. Absolutely. This is silly season, man. I said it on the show with Rinpack that I'm on a heater, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm on a heater right now. I'm running very pure. But I told everyone, and I told Rinpack when we were in some of those macro conversations, what was this, a month ago, that my win rates in NBA have always skewed to the back end of the calendar. I thrive on silly season. And you guys should too. Because this is where the cumulative knowledge of following the NBA all season really pays off. And where people just looking at the hashtag models can't compete in the same capacity as the people who've been paying attention all year long and now have those models at those same models at their disposals. Early in the season, drag and drop, pull the CSV in there, maybe you're profitable, that kind of deal. Now this is the true ball knowers time in the calendar. All right. Yeah. I want lots of Bulls. I want lots of Nuggets tonight. We're just not 100% sure which ones yet. Okay. Celtics and Kings. Celtics 3.5 on the road here. 223.5. I've seen some murmurs in the chat here that people don't think Zinger's going to go tonight. Interesting. Oh, Chris is saying he's been getting Zinger, so he's probably out. I think this is an old school throwback to what the Celtics used to do. And the Celtics used to preemptively give you a Q-tag on one of the two bigs. One plays the first night, one plays the second night. And in the succession, it was almost always Horford plays the first night, Q-tag the next day, the Q-tag big from the previous day plays the next day. And this was their push-pull. And I think Zinger wants a little bit of that smoke tonight if it's going to be Sabonis. I think Zinger wants this one. Yeah. Gonna just pull up the Celtics schedule for you guys for a half second here. This is their longest road trip, as I said, of the season here. Celtics took care of business on Friday with the Jazz. Celtics took care of business last night or yesterday afternoon versus the Blazers. Now they go to Sacramento. Then they're going to go to the Suns on Wednesday, Spurs on Saturday, and then to the Grizz on Monday. They're going to be looking to manage their schedule throughout this or manage their rotations throughout that. That being said, this is the only back-to-back within that long travel time, right? So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games on the road from the 21st to the 31st. So they probably traveled on the 20th, home on April 1st, 11, 12-day road trip or something. So I think they preemptively took Al Horford night last night here, and now we're going to get something different this evening. I don't know what that means for Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But the spread as only 3.5-point favorites against a Kings team that has Q-tags on Malik Monk and Sabonis this evening, Domas, methinks we're going to get Horford out and then one of Jaylen Brown, Tatum, or Jrue Holiday out this evening. That's my read on the situation. That's how I'm playing it right now. I think Zinger's fine this evening. That being said, Zinger has given us the cross check to the back and the stab spear to the midsection a couple times this year with these late illnesses and nights we thought he was playing that then he just randomly does not play. We have to talk through it though, because this is a 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and we're most likely not going to have the news. We're going to have a little bit of news when the injury report first gets filed, which will most likely be in about 25 minutes time here, maybe in an hour and 20 minutes time. But yes, that's my current read on the situation. Now the Kings are not going to look great. The only way the Kings look great in this one is if you get two of those on-ball defenders ruled out on the Celtics side, and we end up getting, one of Monk and or Sabonis ruled out. Then we can start pushing up Levine, DeRozan, etc. DeRozan's still draftable regardless, but he's not going to be like my favorite click. Joe Val will come into our lives if Sabonis is left out. Taking Sabonis in the 5th round or taking Monk in the 5th or 6th round they are good because they will open up swap options for you later in the night when you can make the decision to get to Levine, to get to Joe Val if he's starting. You can make those decisions by staying on the clock. So I think they're fine picks right now. Obviously, Celtics are going to just look like the Celtics. It's not like a spot where everybody's jumping up and down to get to. All right, late night hammer. Suns and Bucks. 222.5. 3-point favorites to the Phoenix Suns at home against the Bucks without Dame Lillard this evening. We have Giannis listed as probable. Dame Lillard is out. Bobby Portis is still suspended. And Gary Trent Jr. has a probable tag. On the Suns side, Bradley Beal still out. Mason Plumlee and Nick Richards listed as probable. And then G Leaguers Ian Ty Washington and Jalen Bridges listed as out there. Booker versus Durant, the evergreen debate of which you draft first. I'm fine with both tonight. I think I am on the Booker side of history this evening, that I want to get overweight Booker, underweight Durant, but I want both. And they're going to project very similarly, and they're both playing big minutes right now. 38, 36, 39, 37. Same thing with Durant. 38, 36. The night off against Toronto that they not quite quit, but took care of business and then whatever. And then Lakers 36 there. Active rest day, we could call it there. I think these are the only two players you want to get to on the Sun side right now. And I think I want to be overweight both of them. I think I like them more than Hallie if he goes tonight. I think I like him more than Ant Edwards even if he goes tonight, though that is debatable. That is, going to be very close in terms of projection. I have pushed Giddey down a little bit and Tatum down a little bit as a little bit of a hedge there. And I was trying to get these guys at like 5th and 6th there. That's where I was at. Now, the other side of the equation. Giannis is in the absolute smash spot of all smash spots this evening. Giannis is an absolute monster on this slate. I like him so much more than Luka this evening. Famous last words, right? But looks like a great spot for him. As far as auxiliary Bucks are concerned, Kevin Porter Jr., who we know kills it from a rates perspective, who you guys know I got all overweight on the short slate. What was that? On the paywall stream on Thursday? ? Yeah, we weren't anticipating him starting in that one. We just thought he would play more and close than Ryan Rollins. And that was not the case. They opted to go with the Ryan Rollins stuff that night. And he ended up playing 29. Now against the Kings the other night, he played 29, 33 fantasy points. Ryan was rolling too good to get Kevin Porter Jr. in there. Now that flipped last game. 27 minutes here, and he closes over Rollins. If you get Kevin Porter Jr. starting this evening, which I'm not 100% certain you're going to get, but even if you get that 29 minutes and you get him closing here in a slightly close game, he's going to be a guy that you're going to want in the 6th round. You can get to Kuzma in the 6th round as well. You can get to Brook Lopez in the 6th round as well. We've talked about Brook Lopez and his ability to show ceiling all of a sudden, again, without Dame out there. And now this is a spot where you can cook both Nick Richards and Mason Plumlee. This is a good matchup for 5s. So I'm going to want to mix and match all of these guys in the 6th round alongside some of those Pell guys, some of those Sixers guys, some of those Nuggets guys. So when it comes 5th and 6th round for me right now, I am drafting Bucks. I am drafting Bulls, auxiliary Bulls. I'm drafting Nuggets. I'm drafting some of these scroll the F downs. And I'm kind of soft fading, when you look up here, I'm soft fading, this Jordan Poole, this Jaden McDaniels, though that could break nicely even if you get Ant out. Like I would rather have the Jose Alvarados of the world. I would rather have, Kelly O, some of these kind of guys in this tier than some of the more household names like IQ, like Pirtle, because I'm scared of the minutes. Whereas I think the minute ceiling is uncapped for a lot of these other guys. And the rates, I want them to be decent rates, guys. There it is, guys. What was that? 9 games, 5 back end back-to-backs, 3 front end back-to-backs, something like that. Yeah. That was a lot. This is peak Philly season. Shout out to PPR Tyler hanging out. Just chiming in to say what up to everybody. Here's a good one from Pitch. A little context to the injury report yesterday, that it was a conditioning Q-tag yesterday for Zinger. Conditioning Q-tag. Get your Windhursts. I think Zinger's playing basketball tonight. Rates counter. Love it. Let's hop in. Monday Night Hoops. 80K slate. 8K to first. Snap, Phil. This slate is a nightmare. It sure is. It's nightmare fuel. I love it, Justin. I love it. This is where the ball knowers thrive this time of year. And you are one of them, my friend. Have I maxed the dinger? Not yet. Not yet. We're going to get there. Don't worry. We're going to get there. We are getting there. I'm going to do one right after this, and then I'm going to proceed to do at least 5 more tonight before I touch ice. That is the plan. We have 35, 36, 30. We'll see in a second when I register. How many? Forgot the GOAT was live. Is Davis live right now? Davis live? GM chat. Is it a good sign when my top 6 exposures are Q-tags? Yup. Swap in to the best plays, baby. Swap in. Do you like any Brett Beatty? I don't know. Vientos kind of took that job and ran with it last year. But Nimmo and Jeff McNeil are not beacons of health. So Brett Beatty, people forget. Brett Beatty, better prospect than Mark Vientos. People forget. People forget. It's hard, guys. I'm not going to lie. The right-hand side of the draft board this evening is a difficult spot. It's going to be very difficult if things go the Giannis way. That it's going to be difficult to match. Let's do what I was saying. Let's take Booker. Let's do as I was saying. Let's push up Booker. If he wants the LeBron and Giddey combo, he can have it. And then we can do something funky here. We could put them both together. That's kind of fun. I think Ant Edwards will project in this tier if we got him in right now. Jamal will probably push up as well. Let's pair the two Suns guys together. They are two teammates that I'm fine chasing ceiling with together. Thank you, Blake. Hardly know her. Oh. Jeremy's got to sneak in a dinger here before he goes to work. Absolutely. You remember Brett Beatty Hive for like 2 weeks? Yeah. That was a thing. Undoubtedly, that was a thing. Who we got in here? Cowboys, Turkus, Spartan, JT McKenzie. We got a bunch of dog bowl qualifiers in here. Cowboys was in the football one. Spartan and JT were in the NBA one. Wonder if our guy JT McKenzie's set a date yet for the wedding. They got engaged leading up to the dog bowl there. Wonder if my guys set a date yet. Our guy Ricky Lee's coming in here, just galbrating. What do we think about fading all these Q-tag studs and then slamming all the Kobe and Reeves? I don't love Reeves tonight. I think it's too much to ask. I love Reeves as a basketball player. Just with LeBron, with Luka back, with all the wings back, it just feels like, pace down, low total, not a spot that I'm jumping up and down to get to. I do think Singer plays basketball this evening. So I think this is people are going to get him at better price tags than this, but I don't care because we are scrolling in this draft. So we're going to take Singer here. We're going to play a little game correlation in this one, I think. Brett Boy saying Thursday is going to be so awesome. Damn right it's going to be. Can't wait. Can't wait. There you go with Spartan doing the 2 stud Q tags. Like, these teams are going to be hard to compete with if those Q tags break the right way. I don't think they'll break that way, but just throwing it out there. PJ Washington, fine pick here if you want it. I think Cam Johnson is a fine pick here as well. Let's play DeMar, and we're going to play Sabonis and Monk out. And DeMar is a good pick there as a little game correlation with Porzingis. What do you guys think about that one? This is a wild slate, guys. Wild slate. It's a fun one. Oh, are we pulling out the 5% beer tonight? Respook's asking. I think we got to. It feels like I'm not on beer duty tonight in the dressing room, but it feels like an old Milwaukee kind of night at the rink. It feels like a two old Milwaukees in the room kind of night. I'm not gonna lie. I think I might have a couple tucks in me. Might have a couple tucks in me tonight. Body is feeling sore right now, though. Labatt Blue, the official beer of hockey. I wish. Not a lot of people drink Labatt Blue up here. Old guys drink Labatt Blue. A lot of Canadian. There goes the Russell Westbrook pick. Let's play a little game correlation here. I do think I really like Gordon in a vacuum here. So maybe we take him first. I did really want to get to some of the Sixers stuff in this lineup, but I think Gordon's fine. I do think Gordon with these back-to-backs is a potential rest candidate tonight. But after running DeAndre Jordan 38, I'm not sure you can do it. Man, I'm not going to lie, guys. There are so many good plays tonight. And we haven't even opened up full value yet. There are so many good plays this evening. Let's do the scroll the F down. Like, we could take Jose Alvarado right here. We could go to the 76ers, and we could have our choice of who's going to have the lead handling here. We could do all of that. I'm going to play the game correlation narrative that I was attesting to, where Phoenix go Burr and Kevin Porter Jr. go Burr alongside them, and you get a little bit of leverage off the Giannis teams on the other side of the board. But man, there are some good plays down here. Pick your winner of the Pelican stuff in any of these names. Pick your winner of the 76ers stuff down here. Levine, if the Q-tags break the right way. Jaylen Brown could be a good play tonight if Horford's out, Jrue Holiday's out, and Tatum's out. This Jaylen Brown's going to age like wine in the last round. I think Sarr's minutes are pretty safe. Not my favorite spot on the slate, but I think the minutes are pretty safe. Joval will be a decent click if we get no Sabonis. Naz Reid, great click if we get no Ant Edwards. Kuzma's draftable just in general from that game environment. The Chicago, auxiliary Chicago pieces. You have 3 Chicago pieces going in every single draft in Giddey, Vooch, and Kobe White. Instant leverage to get to Kevin Huerter or Montes Pazelis. Matas. There are all sorts of fun plays on this slate. All sorts of fun plays. Maybe some auxiliary Toronto stuff that's going to be chalk on redacted. Like, what do we think Mobo's minutes look like tonight? Played 26, 29 fantasy points. Probably too thin. Maybe a little too thin with Toronto having everybody in there. But man, there are some fun plays down here. We are scrolling. We are scrolling tonight. All right. If I don't want this show to be 5 hours long, I got to jump in to a dinger right now. We've already spent an hour and a half breaking down one of the craziest slates around. Can't wait. Jumping in a dinger. 37 dingers left. 3 more spots. Imagine Peyton Pritchard nukes tonight after failing last night. I mean, he tried his best to nuke last night, too. He tried his best to nuke last night. He just got 3 quick ones. He still played well at the tail end of that ball game. Emwald saying Herder dud tonight because you have a bag in the pick'ems there. Like the sound of a little coos late. I like it. I like it. Emwald knew where I was going. He knew I was cooking up that KPJ from the start. We got a Hattie tonight. I'm not sure I got a Hattie in me tonight. I got 3 games this week. It's playoff time. Austin says can't get over me saying wobbly pops. Shit's hilarious. Couple wobblies. And here we go. Here we go. Nuggets news rolling in. Joker out, as I promised you. Aaron Gordon, questionable. Sketch. Jamal Murray, probable. Move him up. Christian Brown, probable. We got the news coming in. Russell Westbrook's going to look kind of nice. Ricky, join the draft just because of the stream. Love it. Love it. Guys, get yourself some dingers. Get yourself some dingers in. When it is peak BBM season, the dog days of summer, you are going to want to have some sweats. When basketball's over, hockey's over, you're drafting your 65th BBM entry, you're inundated with football content. I almost always take Tatis over Jordan, but let's take Jordan this time. He might just be the best pure hitter on planet Earth. So we should probably have a bag. Anywhere between 6 and 8 pitchers is fine, but 7 is probably closest to optimal, pending how you spend your draft capital. Cade Cunningham, questionable for tomorrow. Okay. There's your Gunnar Henderson. I think we just take Schwarber here. I kind of think I like Vlad like one little notch better. But in a stream room with all you sickos, I don't want to fall behind an outfield. So pairing 2 on the right-hand side of the board together feels good. And not going to lie, 2 guys that I just don't click as much as I click Fernando Tatis Jr. So pairing them together feels fine. Feels good. All right. So here we go. Middle of the summer. Picture this. Picture this, guys. We're going back to the picture this. Play action. Justin Watson streaking down the field. No, I mean we're going to be in the middle of July. Everyone's going to be talking football. Everyone's going to be streaming BBM. You're going to need a little stimmy, a little sprinkle to your bankroll. You're going to want a little trickle in so that you can keep funding your football. And that's going to come by way of these. And you're going to have no hoops to draft every day. You're going to have you could be drafting baseball every day. You're going to have no puck to be drafting every single day. It's going to be dog days of summer, and you're going to want this sweat. You're going to want to be like, hey, man, I did 10 dingers just so, hey, I got one to the finals, just to feel alive, to feel something, that you have a shot at $100,000 before we push in to full-fledged football season. Here we go. WNBA, bro. All right, we're going to be WNBA. Golf drafts, okay. We can do golf drafts too. We're going to do it all. I'm just going to say you're going to want that swing. You're going to want that swing at having a dinger potential sweat. Nice little bankroll boost to end NFL season. There you go. Is there cricket DFS? Guys, I would never lead you astray. Eggers confirms Zinger in, Horford out. Some guys simply no ball. Some guys. We have the full dump. Horford out. Tillman out. Sam Hauser, who could not miss from 3 last night. I think he was 8 for 8 on his first threes. He ended up, I think, 8 for 9 or 8 for 10 total there. Sam Hauser, questionable. Drew Holiday, who did not play yesterday, playing today, available. And Kristaps Porzingis, available. You're welcome. Easy game. Easy game if you're fucking paying attention and not just blindly clicking buttons. So Tatum's fine at ADP. Zinger's a smash when he was falling. Probably not touching Jrue in the last round unless we get Jaylen Brown ruled out. Jaylen Brown, I don't know. Could we see a little bit of minutes tomfoolery tonight from him? He hasn't played in 4 games. We know he's dealing with the fasting. As you guys can see, Mike Trout now goes on the left-hand side of the board. That is the new alpha. Devers still not throwing, so that's something to talk about. I don't take a ton of Trey Turner, but if I'm going to take some Trey Turner, I stack it with Schwarber, but that's pretty chalky. Let's take this James Wood fall. He's had a nice spring right now. The power is there. This Nationals team is extremely high variant. You are paying the price to get exposure to them with the Wood, Cruz, CJ Abrams stack, but that could break so right. Lawrence Butler's new ADP never falls back to the left hand side of the board anymore. Uh, Tuna saying people love the Nats bats. His buddy loves the Nats bats. I mean, I think they're a little overpriced. I'm fine with the Nats bats. I recognize the ceiling potential outcome for the Nats bats. I like young, fun, shiny new tools or toys that have tools, toolsy guys. Love what Jump Free does here. Love what Jump Free does here and pulls Jazz Chisholm to the other side of the board. I think Corey Seager is my favorite click right here. That being said, get a little stack equity with the Trey Turner, along with the uniqueness in quotations angle of Schwarber being paired with Jordan and James Wood. And then you get a little bit of a faller in Trey Turner there. Stack them up. Let me scroll back in time here. James brings the wood. Damn right he does. Boston Red Sox stack is pretty nice, Jimmy's saying. I agree with you. I'm a little concerned about Devers' shoulder, but I like it. I think there's a lot of pieces to it. Obviously, we can add Christian Campbell to it now, who's on the cover today. Yeah. Now, here is some possibility that was never available earlier in the season that could be available now. Mookie Betts falling back to the Ohtani and Freeman drafter. Kind of interesting, eh? Kind of interesting. Didn't happen in this one. But man, what if Mookie Betts? I think Eno said this on their podcast, or maybe one of the Tool Shed guys. I can't remember who said it. This is not my original thought. But what if Mookie Betts, at 150 pounds, who cannot hold food down right now, what if he is just like a 15-15 guy? The counting stats will be there because he's going to hit second in the Dodgers lineup, who may score the most runs in all of baseball this year. But like, what if he's just a 15-15 guy? I don't know. I don't have a ton of Mookie right now. I might buy the dip if he starts falling to the left-hand side of the board, because then I will have some contrarian Mookie at the least. Okay. Let's think here. I do think I've been doing some funky stuff when I'm on my own in the comfort of my dark room in my underwear when nobody is watching. And I can freely embarrass myself on stream. Maybe I feel a little different here. I like Doyle here. I really like Cole Reagans. I like setting up the Yelich stack as well. Let's take Doyle. I like getting a Colorado bat. And I'll tell you why. Let's see what happens here. I don't want to give away what I'm thinking out loud. I really like this Yelich and Willem Contreras stack that happens over and over again. Boom. All right. Good thing I didn't give it away. I love Jump Free doing this Jazz Chisholm, Jason Dominguez on the right-hand side of the board because it always exists on the left-hand side of the board. And I think it's an underpriced stack right now. The reason I didn't take Cole Reagans and I took Brenton Doyle first was because I like Doyle in a tier above these next guys. I could have set up a stack with the Philly stuff, but I don't love Castellanos. I could have set up a stack with Dylan Cruz, with Wood there, but I like Doyle in a tier above. The reason I didn't do the Cole Regans first was in case I could get Burns to fall back. And I'm really comfortable with a 6th round ace starting my staff off with one of Regans or one of Corbin Burns. If either of those guys were Cy Young winners this year, nobody would be shocked. Nobody would be shocked. And that just knowing the board a little bit there, that like turned me up, would probably gravitate, or one of the two players would gravitate to that Yelich plus Willem Contreras stack, and then one of them would take one of the aces, but not both. Yeah, we open ourselves up to that 6th round ace there. Now, back to what I've been doing in the comfort of my own home. D-Vax 5th starter. I love it. Yes, opening day is going to go by way of Zach Gallen. I like Corbin Burns this year, though. Strikeout rate was kind of down last year. He doesn't have the same strikeout ceiling as some of these other guys, but I don't mind him. I do not mind him. Yeah, stuff plus is down. Yeah, agreed. I know it all, guys. I know it all. Don't worry. Somebody is always watching. Yeah. One thing I've been experimenting with right now, 8-6-6 builds where I take all 12 of my position players. I take all 12 of my position players, and then I push the plane on 8 pitchers. I rank 25 pitchers, and then I push the plane. Going back to that old school meta. Now, you're not going to have any contrarian bats come the finals. That is one big issue, in my opinion, because I am a scroll the F downer, especially at the infield position, to find some contrarian stacking partners. You know, everyone takes Mike Trout, but not everybody takes Luis Rengifo or Logan O'Hoppe, stuff like that. I love to mix and match, some scroll the F downs like that. And these builds don't allow you to do so. But now that we know, solidifying rotations right now, we know which pitchers are healthy. We know who's going to start on the IL and who's not, that we can do some stuff like that. Now, the inverse is also true, where you can do what FF Child's doing with comfortability right now, where you can just go, boom, I'm going to take some ace caliber pitchers at the front end, and I'm going to shut it down at 6 because I know they're all healthy right now. All right, let's think about what we can do here. Jose Altuve, I don't take a ton of, but stacks with Yordan. I think we can get some pitching in the future here. I think doing like a Willy Adames plus Matt Chapman. Let's do that. You know what? Let's do that. I don't do any Adames. I think this might be my very first Willy Adames share. He's moving to a bad park for right-handed power. It's not the worst in the world. His stats are hyperinflated from last year by setting the MLB record for 3-run home runs in a season. I think he's coming to a worse park and a worse lineup. But if I'm going to do it, let's do it with this cheeky Chapman stack on the right-hand side of the board. Maybe Heliot Ramos or something comes back. We don't have to worry as much about Jair Encarnacion stealing a job from somebody anymore because he's going to have surgery. He was a guy who was going to be a sneaky scroll the F down in the last round, who could take some DH at bats away. Yeah. How about Matt Chapman having a career high 14 bags last year? I get that the bases got bigger, but yeah. Matt saying he's shutting it down at 4 SPs. What an alpha. What an alpha. Fuck yeah. Love it. You think the Adames hate is overblown? Probably. You're probably right. You're probably right. Sneaky wheels. Yeah, sneaky wheels on Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman's just a good fucking athlete. You know what's crazy? Go back to high school. Matt Chapman and Nolan Arenado, two platinum glove winners, sharing the left side of the infield together in high school. Incredible. Incredible. Heliot Ramos goes there a little above ADP, so we're not going to get a chance to get him back. Um, I guess we could talk about Nolan Jones. Nolan Jones getting traded to Cleveland. Here's the spin zone, guys. Better lineup, slightly better for left-handed power after last year. We talked about it so much in the daily streets. After they, made that little wind tunnel out to right and they put those slots in the bleachers to let air and light through, that it actually became a little bit of a right or left-handed hitter's paradise in quotations late in the season when the weather turned there in Cleveland. So there's your spin zones. And your spin zone is the fact that they didn't have an everyday right and or left fielder that they felt comfortable with. And they went and acquired a dude who they drafted and loved before. And they still wanted him back despite quote unquote failing, some of it health related with Colorado. That's your spin zone. Do I want him in Colorado more than I want him with Cleveland? And was I drafting him to be a Colorado outfielder? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's pure spin zone. But hey, maybe that opens something up for one of these other Rockies outfielders. I thought Zach Veen was going to make the team. He is not going to. He's been sent down. They're just roadblocking him with Nick Martini, who had a good spring. I think Jordan Beck is a good click right now. Some home run upside there, some pop upside. If you want to do a cheeky scroll stack. I think I'm fully out on Nolan Jones, but could be overthinking it. I mean, that checks out. I won't fight you on that. He's hard to draft right now. But the problem is almost all the outfielders we're taking in those ranges are like they're platoon guys. Jimmy saying he wanted to draft some Veen. I did it like 3 or 4 times. I think it's totally fine to do that. I think you can take Veen or Beck. Beck being the safer of the two in 7 outfield builds. Tovar came back to us, and then there's a plethora of pitchers to choose from next. I would have considered a little Tyler O'Neill stack if he was still on the board with either Westberg or Rutschman, or if you want to scroll a little bit further, Jackson Holliday's playing time looks safer with Gunnar Henderson starting the year on the IL. But let's go ahead and take Tovar and Doyle here. So we have a Colorado stack that doesn't include Nolan Jones. Yeah, here's a guy that's slowly creeping up in people's ranks right now. Andy Pages. Thinking he's a little more comfy of a click in that Dodgers outfield as a scroll the F down. We have Corbin Burns. We could take Zach Gallen, who is like the safe click here. But let's shoot a little ceiling in Tyler Glasnow. I'm probably going to end up with too much Glasnow. I still haven't checked the exposures, guys. I'm a man of my word. I imagine some of my highest owned pitchers right now. Brandon Pfaadt, Tyler Glasnow. I imagine some of my highest owned outfielders were Nolan Jones, unfortunately. Yeah. Let's see here. What do we got here? Pitch asking if we're nervous about Tyler O'Neill going from Fenway to Baltimore. Yes, absolutely. Like that wall was built for Tyler O'Neill's swing. That being said, Baltimore bringing in the wall this year has me bullish, and I do think he has a better lineup. And this will be it's a more palatable price tag than it was last year, right? So I'm good with it. You're worried that the Guardians will do something stupid like platoon Jones with Noel. I think it's definitely range outcomes. Um, yeah, yeah. O'Neill hit 34 home runs with St. Louis. He's fine. Like he has big boy power. Eddie Pajes has light tower power. It's close. Light tower power is it's few and far between. But yeah, it's close. He's got pop. He's got more pop than he gets credit. Yeah, we're gonna have to start filling some frozen ropes here. I gotta get my dingers done first, but I'll be doing them at the same time. Ben asking if we are maxing. We are trying our fucking best, my friend. We got 37 left after this. If I can't do 37 dingers in 4 days, I'm pathetic. So I gotta get it done. I gotta get it done. I might push the plane on the last 10 if I'm that close on like Thursday morning, just to say I did it. But I did. I should have been doing more early. I should have been doing more early. Blake giving us some puck guy alpha, talking about Chapman and Arenado on the same high school team. Dylan Larkin, Kyle Connor, and Zach Werenski, all youth hockey team. Woo. Nasty. Nasty. Connor Bedard and Macklin Celebrini played together. Nick says we need a dinger every 2 minutes for it to fill. Get to work. They will be filling faster than every 2 minutes come opening day or adjacent to opening day. I have not taken any flyers on Sagano yet. I've seen other people do it. Damn, I was hoping Tolia came back to us. I've seen other people do it. I have not yet. It feels, and this is not fair to him, but it feels like, oh, let's make a pick here first. Vinny P, I prefer when he's stacked. We could do like Mullins and Holiday, but we have to get it by turn me up on the right hand side of the board. I do want to finish my thought. Let's take Sonny Gray. We don't take a ton of Sonny Gray. We're a little bit down on Gosman this year. Let's take Sonny Gray on this one. It feels a little safer than Kevin Gosman. Could also be a trade candidate to up his quality starts and wins later in the season. That's kind of fun. Yeah, let's have the Jackson Holiday conversation. Jackson Holiday's going to start the year on the roster, which wasn't a given, which is good for his value, right? Who else can we take here? Outfield tends to fall off in this area. Kirby, we can probably get at a better price tag in the future. Let's take our guy, Josh Lowe. There is some platoon risk here, but I also know that this guy has like 25 ceiling, and that ballpark change is going to be really good for him. Okay. Who was the Japanese pitcher who came to the Athletics who couldn't find it 3 years ago and then wound up getting traded to Baltimore? Furuyama? It started with an F. Fujinama. Shintaro Fujinama. These like slightly underhyped international free agents who have good stuff, but then when they change the ball in North America, like they just lose it and the walk rates go crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably like a decent stealing outcome shot, but I do think the Cade Povich call is better. Yeah, I'm not comparing them as players. I'm not comparing them as players. It's a bad comp because one's a control guy and one's not. I'm not comparing the players at all. I don't know enough to whatever. I'm comparing situations as like underhyped guys who came over. Yeah, I don't know. I should probably mix in a share or two. But the problem is the way I've been building teams right now is I've been looking for innings late because I've been taking ceiling at front end of draft boards. Like I've been taking the Glasnows. I've been chasing like the Hunter Browns, the Hunter Greens, the Sandys. Who else? Coda, Senga. I've been chasing like those kind of ceilings early, and then when I'm at the back end of draft boards, especially in some of those where we used to be able to get Clay Holmes, where we used to be able to get Brandon Fott, where we used to be able to get Gavin Williams as SP 70, where those don't exist anymore. I've kind of flipped my mindset to instead of chasing ceiling arms at the back, now all of a sudden we're chasing stability and innings. So I've kind of like flipped my mindset that like at the back end of draft boards, I'm more comfortable taking like JV, Scherzer, um, Brady Singer I'm warming up to, even though I hate the park. Luis Severino as like kind of like a 4 guy. Eric Fetty. I've been taking a decent amount of Eric Fetty. Um, Someone in that Mets back end rotation is going to matter between Taylor McGill and David Peterson. Um, yeah, I've been kind of like switching my framework of builds a little bit in that regard. Kirby falling. Who's got Kirby falling to 190, 200s? Yeah, that's a little far for my liking. I like him more than that. Clay Holmes, wow, all the way up to round 14. I think I like Gavin Williams here. I like Mackenzie Gore as well. Mackenzie Gore feels a little safer than Gavin Williams. I like Muncy as well. Let's take Muncy and see which pitcher comes back to me because Turn Me Up already has 6 and Jump Free already has 4. So I think we're going to be able to get one of these pitchers we like. Spencer Arrigetti's okay, but he does have a little bit of control issues. But he's fine in this price tag. Conforto, definitely some platoon risk there. Brett Boy is saying that Paul Skeens is on Slab Lab tomorrow. That's a must watch. That is a must watch. That'll be fun. You don't like it, but you draft Nestor a lot? I think that's fine. I know Nez likes Nestor. All right, let's take Mackenzie Gore. I'm not touching Shane McClanahan now. I'm fine taking the discount on Kirby. Obviously, the alpha on Kirby was considerably different. He wanted to pitch through it. The Mariners told him to rest. He wanted to get a PRP injection, then he decided not to, this sort of thing. Yeah. So I feel more bullish on Kirby than I do like Grayson or McClanahan, etc. McClanahan, man, just given the history and the track record, just fucking take Drew Rasmussen in the last round instead. If you want to take that, like, kind of, I don't know. And the park might not even be good for pitching, you know? It might be a bad place to pitch. Obviously, being left handed is better than being right handed in a mini Yankee Stadium. But yeah. Um, what else we got here? Nick's asking, who's one player I like but never draft? Good question. One player I like but never draft. Bryce Harper. I think Bryce Harper would be a good answer to that question because I tend to take a third round outfielder or stack an Atlanta piece like Ricky did in this one. I think Corbin Carroll is another answer to that one. Although I have been taking Carroll more recently. If we're looking at the top end of draft boards, I think the easiest answer would be Skeens, Scooball, Wheeler, because I basically never take them. I basically never take the premium pitchers. I should be mixing in some builds that consist of premium picture, but yeah. The way I like to build, I've just been yeah. All right, what are we working with here? A 4-5-5, pretty balanced thus far. Definitely a 7-pitcher team. We got some backstack options for the Dodgers here. We could do the Will Smith thing. We could do the Andy Pages thing. We got some Philly backstack if we want, like Stott and Bohm. Stott's the only one left. San Francisco, I don't think there's anything else we'd want to do stacking wise. Tampa Bay, we can always play the hits and do like Brandon Lau or Morel. Although I've cooled my Jets a little bit. Jared Jones, I have like 0% of. Coxer, can I show my solo shot squad? I have not done my solo shot yet. I will be in the lobby waiting for you guys after this show. Right after NBA locks, I will try and film my solo shot today. What about a Randa in the 20th to mix with the Tampa Bay stuff? I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't love it. Jackson Jobe gives us a little bit of ceiling here with a guy who we know is going to be in the rotation to start the year. Taj Bradley's role is pretty safe. Zach Eflin's role is pretty safe. Do we want innings or ceiling here? I think we should go ahead and take ceiling. Let's have some fun. I don't have a big bag of Jackson Jobe. I thought it was a little bit of a fool's errand early in the season. I thought him and Andrew Painter were much closer in terms of their value this season. I thought their value was way closer than ADP indicated. That being said, now that we know he's in the rotation to start the year, I still think his innings are going to be managed. But yeah, there's the fun turn me up. Obviously, knowing ball stack there, doing the Roman Anthony plus Christian Campbell, tons of ceiling there. I was shocked to learn how skinny Christian Campbell was. He is a small guy, like thin guy. He's a tall guy, but he's a thin guy. Okay, here's a new answer to your question. Let's do it. Let's do it one time. I think I have damn near 0 Nathaniel Lowe. 0. I think he is the epitome of oatmeal. Why take Nathaniel Lowe when I can take Ryan Mountcastle 5 rounds later? Why take Nathaniel Lowe when I can take Josh Bell in the last round, who could potentially rip his job? They traded for him. They obviously like him. Here's the answer, the real answer to a guy I never ever draft, but I guess I kind of like. Let's stack him up with James Wood here. Another guy I don't have a ton of. Does this team need 7 outfielders? Probably not. Jordan, Schwarber, Wood in the first 3 rounds? Probably not. Probably needs 7 pitchers, though. Who are some scroll the F down pitchers now who have come into our lives that we previously weren't drafting? Like, these are the pretty oatmeal-y guys down here that are just, like, kind of floory to finish your staffs off with. Like the Evaldis, the Hawks, the Chris Bassetts. Reese Olson is a guy I was finishing my staff off with a decent amount. I wasn't touching Sean Mania because of the health risks. Shane Boss doesn't he's like a ceiling shot opposed to a floor shot. Can we get Bubba? I mean, Bubba, what's the difference in the Bubba and Jackson Jobe bets right now? Just the fact that one's on the roster? Birdsong, that's a good one. Sean Burke, that's a ball knowers take. I don't know how many wins and quality starts are available for Sean Burke, though. Severino, Rocker, and Casey Mize. I mean, I think Casey, former 101, has earned a rotation spot. That seems good. Do we get back elite Woodruff? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's slowly ramping up right now. He wasn't overly elite last year, to be honest, but I think he's entirely fine at his price tag. Drew Rasmussen as a dart throw late. I don't hate that at all, Noah. Yeah. All right. So we got Burns, Glasnow, Sonny Gray, Mackenzie Gore, Jackson Jobe. We probably need a couple innings eaters on this staff. Maybe one innings eater and one ceiling shot, but that ceiling shot has to be a combination of innings and ceiling. It can't be like Bubba Chandler, for instance. So I do think we need a little bit more innings on here. Infield, Turner, Adames, Chapman, Tovar, Max Muncy, Nathaniel O. Seems fine. Seems fine. Here's a question for you guys. If Cam Smith was in the player pool, where would he be going right now? Cam Smith is in the player pool. Where is he going? Because wouldn't it feel all warm and fuzzy to stack Cam Smith onto this roster as a ceiling shot with Yordan Alvarez? That would feel good. I think Evaldi's a good pick here. Just a combination. I think Lodolo's a little more of the ceiling shot. I think Evaldi and Tanner Houck are like the end of like floor plus game to game ceiling outcome. Tanner Houck's had a bad spring. Not that it really matters. I don't know what he was working on. I'm not that deep in the weeds there, but yeah. Yeah, leave the light on for Casey Mize. Yeah. I mean, former 101, why not, right? I did take Chris Bubich a couple times. You guys have talked me into that. He was phenomenal from a wait for it rates standpoint in the bullpen last year. Jesus, man. I can't buy one out here with Turn Me Up. Turn Me Up is so dialed in here. He's taking all my fun stacks. I knew I should have taken Pages first. Fuck's sake. You sick bastards. Ruining my stacks out here. Set it up with the Muncy. Damn it. What can we do at the outfield position here that is fun? Can we draft Victor Scott yet? Probably not. Let's take a pitcher. Let's take Houck. I know it's not fun. We're running out of clock here. My plan was all flipped on its head because Turn Me Up just decided to do, I'm just going to do the 2 worst Dodgers and stack them together. Oh, he already had Conforto. Okay, you're forgiven. I don't know why Edmonds over Will Smith. What do you guys think about that one? My bad. It's not your bad. It's a good stack. It's a good one. Kind of still like Brian Bale. Yeah, Bellows feels good. That feels like a fine one. I think the ship sailed on the MJ Melendez stuff. I know we want to have something. I don't know. MJ's like that classic breakout profile from like year after year that just like never happened. I don't know. Has anyone taken Hunter Renfroe yet? I mean, there's a guy with 25, 30 home run potential if he plays every day. The problem is he's kind of played himself out of playing every day the last couple years. Fake Mike Trout doppelganger. Cal Isbell as a scroll the F down, play center field. He's so mad though. Edmund to short Mookie. That feels like a fine bet. Ooh, there's a Pavin Smith drafter. Pavin? I always fuck that one up. Play him against righties in the dailies. Victor Robles still going at 196 there. Goes to show how thin outfield is. Because I expect him to miss a little bit of time, no? Oh, he's good. We'll start in right field and bat leadoff. He was pulled from the game the other day. He is good. All right. I was a little worried after he got hit on the hand there. I was a little worried. Yeah, I like what Easy's throwing out in the chat here. I like some of these back stacks. Like Winker plus Siri. Dude, I haven't clicked. Brett Boy's asking about Ronel Blanco. I haven't clicked his name yet. That might be a mistake. I mean, this guy threw a no-hitter last year, but everyone like just shorted him. We shorted him all season long last year, and he was fine. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's talk about some of these outfielders because we're going to need two of them. Well, we're going to need one of them at least. We'll see here. Jordan Walker, fine, whatever. Wheeler's probably going to start on the IL, right? Is that always ready for spring debut? Okay. Maybe wrong about that. Parker Meadows, I think he's just like off my board now because of the playing time and how he's going to start the year. I think Jesus Sanchez is fine if you want to do like the Sanchez plus Norby. I think Max Kepler or Marsh on this team would be fine with the Philly stack we got going. That one's pretty good. Trevor Larnach, I said it on the stream the other day. Like Trevor Larnach is closer to Matt Wallner than Matt Wallner is to the tier above him in the drafts. So like I don't mind it. Zach Veen as a scroll the F down here with the Colorado stuff. I think I'm gonna do Beck with one of these picks. And just like ape into that Colorado one. Tyler Freeman's probably going to start and play second base to replace Brandon Rogers, who was replaced by Tyro Estrada, who is now going to be out for at least the first 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. So, I mean, like Freeman's like pretty oatmeal-y though, but you get the Colorado thing. I think Jordan Beck has like a 30 home run ceiling in Colorado. A little bit of speed to mix in. 30 might be bullish. Let's call it like 23 to 25. Kumar Rocker. Yeah, Rocker goes there. Is Rocker going to make that rotation? Is Rocker making the rotation? Bubba Chandler. There's your Victor Scott plus Nolan Arenado. So Turn Me Up is just doing playing all the fun stacks. Rays, we could play the hits and add Christopher Morel to this. We could do the Will Smith to the Muncie. Because admittedly, I don't love unstacked Muncie. Let's do Will Smith. Do we need... I think we need an infielder, not an outfielder here. Turner, Adames, Chapman, Tovar, Muncy, Nathaniel Lowe. I think we want to do the Will Smith mini stack with Muncy here. We already got the Colorado 3-man. I think it's close between Kepler to make our 2-man Philly stack into a 3-man. But I don't love one-off Muncy when we have Will Smith available in the last round. I can live with one-off Josh Lowe. All the garbage stacks, please. GG's. Absolutely. Heston Kiersey underappreciated by the Orioles? Yeah, for sure. They've underappreciated a lot of their outfield pieces thus far, man. Trade bait, guys. Yeah, it was always Christian Campbell. I'm excited to see what it looks like. I'm excited to see what it looks like at the big league level. Buying all the Beck. I respect that easy. Ooh, Yaz I missed this one in the chat. Mikey Stremski. Mikey Stremski as a tack-on outfielder. Let's look at the Giants for a second here. Giants are a team that platoons. I mean, now that we know we're not going to have Encarnacion there, Yaz in the outfield. Ramos is probably DH. Jung Ho Lee's in center field. Luis Matos, once upon a time, was a top prospect. Once upon a time. Couldn't hit his weight in the big leagues, though. Marco Luciano as well, former top prospect. Hasn't figured it out. Huh. FF Child went and added Yanier Diaz. That was another consideration for the Jordan stack there. I opted to go with the Will Smith instead. There we go. We have done 2 frozen ropes. We have done 113 dingers. And we are not clicking that exposure button until tomorrow. Or I guess Thursday. We're not clicking it. Matos had moments last season. There you go. Yeah, Jimmy's reminding everybody that MLB's so funny. There will be a pitcher and hitter that no one's even looking at that'll break out. Look no further than Seth Lugo last year. Like Seth Lugo's ADP was like 230 something last year. Yeah, Garrett Crochet's last year. Another great example. Crochet did push up in draft boards once he won a rotation spot with the White Sox last year, though. I will say that. All right, guys, do me a favor. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. We still got almost 300 of us hanging out. If you're on the X side, please, please, please come over to the Badge Bros on the YouTube side. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Consider becoming a member. There will be members-only content this week. Tomorrow, we got off and on the clock with Pete. I think we're going to do more baseball. Push the fill rates of these. Yeah, push the full rates of these. Get some dingers going tomorrow. That sort of deal. Then I'm going to do the puck guy thing. Do the Zamboni after. So no hoops tomorrow. Hoops will be saved for Wednesday there. Let's read this one off and then call it a show. 776 from the 10 hole. Corbin Burns, Tyler Glasnow, Sonny Gray, Mackenzie Gore, Jackson Jobe, Nathan Eovaldi, Tanner Houck. Pretty intelligently built staff in my estimation. Some safe guys, some flory guys, and then some huge ceiling shots in Glasnow and Jobe mixed in. But all chalk top 70 pitchers. Infield, Trey Turner, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, Tovar, Muncy, Lowe, Will Smith. Definitely probably the weakest part of our roster. Though that being said, it's not bad because this is a pretty balanced team throughout. And then Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Schwarber, James Wood, Brenton Doyle, Josh Lowe, Jordan Beck. We are going to need a breakout from James Wood. We are going to need Brenton Doyle to do what he did last year. And then we're going to need a breakout from one of Josh Lowe or Jordan Beck there. Kind of a fun team. Kind of a fun team. Yeah, let's make Pete draft a dinger. Absolutely. Absolutely. There. Peace out, GN. GN. Good night. We're going to be in some dingers. We're going to be in some solo shots this evening. We're going to be doing basketball for the next 2.5 hours. Then we will do, I'll throw out the bat signal in the Discord for anybody who wants to draft dingers after that, because we got to get this number down to about like 20 before tomorrow. 25. Let's be realistic here. All right. Everybody's favorite time of the show. The end. Hit that like, subscribe, notification. Peace.